for those of you who got to see yourselves in the mirror, I just want to know what first came in your mind. You need to answer that. Okay. Can you answer?
Well, I thought it was weird to see myself because I never get to see myself.
Okay. Anyone else?
It's kind of like aggressive because it just came up, you know.
That's it? Anyone else wants to? Okay. So the reason I wanted to start this way is because my theme is Black identity, and as a Black person, it really happens often that people will try to show you and remind you what you look like. Like he said, we don't really look at ourselves that much. So the mirror is to exactly like show you. It's what some people do. They're like, this is what you look like, and it's kind of aggressive and awkward in a sense, right? So that's why I wanted to do. So spoken word, I'm going to talk a little bit about spoken word, and then the performance are going to start. So first of all, after a while, a lot of people started migrating to places like New York City. A lot of Black people went there, and it really became the melting pot of that. And African Americans were also inspired by many. They created something that became the Harlem Renaissance. So all of them started painting. They became really creative, and they decided that instead of being talked about, it was time for them to stand up and show who they were exactly, and speaking up for themselves and articulating themselves. And during that time, I was really inspired by the rhythm of blues and jazz, because those type of musics were really emerging. And some of them in the poems, they used street slangs, which still happens nowadays, because depending on who you want to talk to, who your poem is going to be addressed to, you want them to feel interpelled by your language. And so yeah, the Harlem Renaissance was really about intellectual and cultural quest for identity. And for those of you, I know my class already knows, but for those of you who don't know, spoken word is all word-based. Some people decide to put music into it, or it's also about the facial expressions, the tone that you use. And yeah, so I am gonna invite performers to come up and show you what we've been working on.
The Black Dilemma. I have a dream that one day I could walk into any random place with any form of human life and not be asked the proverbial question, so do you play basketball? What a way to start a stereotypical conversation. All it does is add ignorance to their conversational input, causing a confrontation of misinformation. Just because I'm tall, Black, very good looking, I might add, does that actually make me the next eligible candidate to be the next Michael Jordan? There's something wrong with that accordance. Why can't I be the next Bill Gates? Is it that my skin is too dark that it sealed my own fate? And what about, does my wingspan's uses only consist of putting an orange ball through a net? And what about my friends? What about the ones that actually talk about me behind their back, that say racist jokes? What about them? But they actually forget that I'm there. But in the end, they actually do remember and they apologize, but actually giving their, excuse me, I'm sorry, discrimination. I apologize. Can't I steal can I have the same opportunities by working hard instead of being a criminal on a crime scene or on TV? I will never understand. Speaking of crime scenes, you may well have noticed, and it's hard to accept that I can't put my thumb on it yet, how the fact that my fellow brothers and sisters, my Black brothers and sisters, we actually are quick to lyrically, orally, and physically murder someone, but at the same time, when we're with the same colored masses, we can actually still accept to be called a nigga. While learning black history, I'm just as much of a student as you too. So why is it that when people actually look at the violent acts and everything, they look back at me like it happened to me too? How come it takes 200 classes just to learn about Porinmakwa, but it takes one class just to learn about everything Dr. King and Rosa Parks did? Aren't we past that? Aren't we past the crime? Aren't we past the time where being black feels like the illest disease? Where it actually feels like the embodiment, where it causes the utmost unease? What about the hate? The same hate that when we're blessed with the same people of the same color, but we're actually surrounded by folk that are not the same color as us, we get along, but when it comes to being crowded in a room where we're actually all the same color, why can't we stand each other? I know it may seem like I'm pointing the finger, but it actually depends on who the hand belongs to. What does it mean to be black exactly? A question that some who the question doesn't even concern, they find their way to answer to. Loving chicken, playing sports, being an aspiring rapper where the statistics actually show that it's a vicious cycle, the same circle as a hip-hop cipher. Living on welfare, getting cash only to spend it on crack, weed, and even a new pair of Air Jordans. So let's not forget that sex can actually make us black men forget to pay child support, forget to be loyal to our wives, where we actually slander them, and we actually are doing this while standing with another significant other. Does it mean that the music we make, hip-hop or rap, has to be done with our pants below our butts and our hats flipped backwards? And of all things to compensate, they actually give us a month just to tell us that we have to shut up and that we have to actually not be ingrates. Some believe that we're lazy and that we're a wasted generation, but this form of contemplation actually needs excessive regeneration. And though we are loud and obnoxious, and we actually can be kind of noisy at times, that gives us our distinction and our separation from other nations. But actually not everyone falls under this description. Beyond the stereotypes, low job expectations, we lie a people, a beautiful people. A people courageous enough to ride the Underground Railroad. The ones that, my black is courageous. My black is the black African-American ladies that actually can stand up and say, I will be the next Grammy and Oscar winner. That I will be the future. My beautiful is the stunning reflection that I see in the mirror every day. It can actually be one of rejection to a certain people. But ones that hear that actually have heard this saying, once you go black, you never go back, they know that our love is contagious. Behind this nappy, curly, and soft hair is a brain that is not afraid to stand up, one that doesn't need to be lit, one that doesn't need to be pushed. A brain ready to change the world at any moment, not willing to be called upon, but one that is willing to change and impact. My black makes a difference, not just in our community, but in other communities as well. My black is influence. My black is when others tell me that I have to stop, but I choose not to. My black is beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'll be performing the interview. Pick a name tag. They'll give it to you anyway. White shirt, black skirt, neutral. You've been getting ready for this for months now, so don't choke now. They're watching, you need this. 2 people in the office. I'm the +1 to balance it out, I guess. Every single question directed specifically at me. Why do you think you deserve to be part of our team? Well, I'm a university graduate, I'm experienced, I'm smart, and I know more than you do. I think you've been quite well here, smiling with a grin from ear to ear, and I know there's another one working here. No matter how hard we try, it'll never change. And the president that they have now will never be on the bills like the one that came before. didn't sign up for this. No matter how many white picket fences there are on the same street, my house will always have the black fence.
Let me backtrack. Something happened in September. Or maybe it was August or July, I don't remember. On my way to work, I'm usually late, but not quite like this. Still driving at the speed limit, not trying to lose my license. Quarter tank of gas in my uniform on. I make it there right on time if nothing else goes wrong. Steady cruising at 50 km, it was 4:45 p.m. Please, Lord, help me get them green lights, because I ain't trying to lose my job tonight or put up a fight with the manager. Because I ain't got the stamina. The fact her only son might lose his job, that might damage her. Yeah, my mama looking up to me, so you know that can happen. Say, fuck Murphy's Law, because I really can't imagine anything coming up and messing up my trajectory. But guess who's driving next to me? It's Johnny Law and his partner just eyeing me, spying me. Why they looking at me? I don't know. But anyway, on the road is where I keep my eyes, hoping I arrive at my job before 5. They was in my blind spot, now they in my rear view. 10 seconds later, they flashing that red and blue. I pulled over with a grudge on my shoulder, saying, why they gotta do this? They don't know that I'm a student? Now I waited in my vehicle, hoping this don't get physical. God made me black, sometimes I wish I was invisible. The reason why they pulled me over really was not visible. I wasn't drinking, wasn't calling, wasn't speeding, wasn't texting. I'm clipping their guns as they approaching, now I'm second guessing my safety, because if the guns is off safety, then that's just the enemy. So I'm not being their enemy. I'm acting real nicely, not being too niggly. Because that's the difference between a fee and a death sentence. If Trayvon knew this, he'd probably still be in our presence. They let me go because my track record is flawless. But that encounter left me jobless.
Where I'm from, little boys used to speak about dreams of becoming gangsters, crown themselves as kings of the hood, pretended to prepare murder plans against any other crew who would dare to wear the wrong bandana color, not even knowing that it doesn't matter, red or blue, once shot and dead, the maggots would dig their way into the skin and eat them raw, just the same. Even Robertson Differ would testify. But you used to look at papers that you could see angels dancing on them, and you would pick up crayons and lead them into following the pace until you resurrected them. Now those angels have turned into hunting ghosts. Your fingertips don't dance quite the same anymore. They only move in circular motions. And you walk one foot at a time, one heavier than the other, lingering the nigger in you. They brought your forefathers on slave ships, attached them to bricks and threw them into the ocean, and told you that the Pacific has no memory anyway. Although they made sure to remind you that all of those victims' blood is embedded in yours. Now those are the same bricks they pinned to your pockets until the cumbersome pulled your pants down. They made you believe that your skin was like melanin and would scorch anything close enough to touch you, even yourself. So how can they blame you for feeling the need to elevate your mind when you just can't carry the nigger in you no more? But what they don't tell you is that every inch of you is sculpted by gods, and your skin tone is just another shade of gold. You also come from kings and queens. Baby boy, you are royalty. So pay attention to the drum rolls of your heartbeat. Can't you hear? It's a celebration. So stand up and keep dancing shamelessly.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things that get brighter.
Sinner's Creek lived between the valley of where she called home. Ragged men, voice lured by toxic elixirs, piled the streets of her neighborhood. Moans of bliss filled the air as Jane got her fix. Stiletto heels, click clack, wobble. That had been where Mama called me casa, but su casa never really felt like home. Bright young thing, she excelled in class, but she refused to be part of the mass who had gas and already burning flame. Her inner skyscraper was filled with literary spasms. While other girls were on the mezzanine, daydreaming about when they get their next high. Mama's reverie took her on trips to Chateau de Versailles. A constellation of opportunities arose within the bounty of her soul. The dole had never consoled the hunger. She had never felt whole. Fluorescent lights enlightened her path. Kaleidoscope dreams. No longer heading for Katrina, they called her Miracle on 34th Cambridge Street. She fashioned her arms into wings and took flight. No great lights in sight. Beyond the stars, she reached for the sun. Skin bronze, fingertips numb, feet calloused from Mountain Kilimanjaro. She made it. Mama, you finally made it.